You're broke because you keep buying garbage, and I don't care if that offends you. The truth is, most people are walking around thinking they're making smart financial decisions when in reality, they're bleeding money every single month on things that are making other people rich while keeping them poor. And here's the kicker. You probably think you're different. You probably think you've got it all figured out. But if you're not where you want to be financially right now, then something you're doing is dead wrong. Let me be clear. I've built businesses. I've made millions. I've sat across the table from thousands of entrepreneurs and everyday people. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the difference between people who build wealth and people who stay broke isn't income. It's behavior. It's what you buy. It's what you think you need versus what you actually need. And today I'm going to rip apart 7 things that you need to stop buying immediately if you have any intention of getting rich. Not comfortable, not surviving, rich. And if you ignore this, that's on you. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you why this matters right now more than ever. Inflation is eating your paycheck alive. Housing costs are through the roof. Retirement is a joke for most people. The middle class is getting crushed. And while all of this is happening, you're out here spending money on things that are actively destroying your financial future. Watch this video till the end because this could change how you protect your money and how you think about wealth forever. And trust me, most people won't like hearing what I'm about to say, but I'd rather you hate me and get rich than love me and stay poor. Let's start with the first thing you need to stop buying. Brand new cars. This is the biggest wealth killer in America, and nobody wants to admit it. You drive off the lot and you just lost 20 to 30% of that car's value in the first year. Gone, evaporated. And you're sitting there with a 5 or 6 year loan at some ridiculous interest rate thinking you made a good decision because the salesman told you that you deserved it. You know what you deserve? Financial freedom, not a depreciating asset that costs you hundreds of dollars a month. Here's the brutal truth. Rich people don't buy new cars. They buy used cars or they lease for business purposes. Poor people buy new cars to look rich. And that's exactly why they stay poor. If you've got a car payment right now that's eating up more than 10% of your income, you're doing it wrong, period. Second thing you need to stop buying, expensive coffee and daily takeout. And I know what you're thinking. Here we go with the latte lecture, but listen to me. I'm not telling you to never enjoy coffee. I'm telling you that spending $5 to $7 a day on coffee is a $1,500 to $2,500 a year habit that's robbing your future. And when you add in lunch, breakfast sandwiches, and all the other convenient garbage you buy instead of planning ahead, you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000 a year. Do you know what $10,000 invested every year for 30 years turns into? Over $1.7 million, assuming average market returns. So every time you swipe that card for a $12 salad, you're not just spending $12, you're spending what that $12 could become. That's the math that separates rich people from broke people. Rich people see the opportunity cost. Broke people see the convenience. Third thing, stop buying stuff to impress people you don't even like. Designer clothes, expensive watches, handbags that cost more than a month's rent, status symbols that do nothing but drain your bank account while inflating your ego. Let me be clear, nobody cares, nobody is impressed, and the people who are impressed are usually just as broke as you are. They're playing the same stupid game. I've met billionaires who wear $20 shirts and drive 10-year-old cars. And I've met people making $50,000 a year walking around in Gucci trying to convince everyone they've made it. Guess which one is actually wealthy? Your net worth is not your wardrobe. Your wealth is not visible. It's in your bank account, your investments, your assets, and every dollar you spend trying to look rich is a dollar that could actually make you rich. This is the brutal truth. If you're buying things to impress others, you're playing a game you'll never win. Now, I want you to think about something. We just covered 3 things, and I guarantee at least one of them made you uncomfortable. Good. That discomfort is your wake-up call. That feeling is the gap between where you are and where you could be. We've got 4 more things to cover, and they're going to hit even harder. But here's what you need to understand. Every single one of these things is a choice. You're choosing to stay broke or you're choosing to build wealth. There's no middle ground. Let's get into the fourth thing you need to stop buying if you want to build real wealth: subscription services you don't use. And I'm not just talking about one or two streaming services. I'm talking about the 15 to 20 subscriptions that are silently draining your account every single month. Gym memberships you haven't used in 6 months, streaming platforms you forgot you even had, software subscriptions, meal kits, beauty boxes, app subscriptions on your phone that you signed up for during a free trial and never canceled. You want to know what's happening? You're getting nickel and dime to death. $10 here, $15 there, $20 somewhere else. And you think it's no big deal because each one feels small, but add it up. The average person is spending over $200 a month on subscriptions they barely use or don't use at all. That's $2,400 a year lighting itself on fire. Most people won't like hearing this, but you're not rich enough to waste $2,400 a year. And here's the thing that really gets me. These companies are counting on your laziness. They're counting on you forgetting. They're counting on you thinking it's too much hassle to cancel. And while you're being lazy, they're building billion-dollar businesses off your apathy. Stop funding their retirement and start funding yours. Fifth thing. Stop buying extended warranties and insurance on things that don't matter. Every time you buy electronics, furniture, or almost anything expensive, some salesperson tries to sell you an extended warranty or protection plan, and you buy it because you're scared. You're scared something might break. You're scared you might lose money. But here's what they don't tell you. These warranties are massive profit centers for retailers. They wouldn't push them so hard if they weren't making a fortune. The math is simple. Most products don't break during the warranty period. And when they do, the cost to replace or repair is usually less than what you paid for the warranty over time. You're essentially gambling and the house always wins. Now, I'm not saying never buy insurance. Health insurance, absolutely. Car insurance, it's the law and it's necessary. Home insurance, critical. Life insurance, if you have dependents, non-negotiable. But phone insurance? Furniture protection plans, extended warranties on appliances, you're throwing money away. Self-insure by building an emergency fund instead. That way, when something breaks, you pay for it once, not every month for years hoping you might need to use it. Now, here's the sixth thing, and this one is going to make some of you angry. Stop buying houses you can't afford. And I mean truly afford. Not what the bank says you can afford. Not what the real estate agent says you should stretch for. Not what your friends think you should buy to keep up with them. I'm talking about what you can actually pay for without being house poor. Here's the brutal truth. The housing market has convinced an entire generation that you need to spend every dollar you can borrow on the biggest house possible because real estate always goes up. That's garbage. Real estate goes through cycles. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it crashes. And when you're over leveraged, when you've got a massive mortgage, high property taxes, maintenance costs, HOA fees, and everything else, you're one job loss away from financial disaster. I see people making $100,000 a year buying $400,000 houses and thinking they're building wealth. No, you're building stress. You're building risk. You're locking yourself into 30 years of payments with no flexibility. Let me be clear. Your house is not an investment if you live in it. It's an expense, a massive ongoing expense. Rich people buy houses they can easily afford and invest the difference. Poor people buy the biggest house they can qualify for and wonder why they can't get ahead. The bank wants you in debt. The realtor wants a bigger commission. Nobody in that transaction cares about your long-term wealth except you. And here's what kills me. People justify it by saying they need space, or they need to be in a certain neighborhood for the schools, or they need to impress their family. You know what your kids need more than a big house? Financial stability, college funds, parents who aren't stressed about money. You know what impresses your family? Actually having wealth, not the appearance of it. If you're spending more than 25% of your gross income on housing, you're doing it wrong. And if you're stretching to buy a house right now in this market with these interest rates without a significant down payment, you're making a mistake that could haunt you for decades. Seventh thing, stop buying lottery tickets and gambling your money away. And before you tell me it's just entertainment or it's only a few dollars, let me stop you right there. It's a tax on people who are bad at math. The odds of winning the lottery are astronomically against you. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning. twice, but every week millions of people line up to throw away money on a fantasy. And it's not just lottery tickets, it's scratch-offs, it's casino trips, it's sports betting apps that are now legal and advertised everywhere, it's online poker. People are literally gambling away their financial futures, hoping for a shortcut to wealth. Here's the reality. There are no shortcuts. Wealth is built through discipline, through investing, through making smart decisions consistently over time, not through luck. Every dollar you gamble is a dollar that could be working for you in an index fund, in a retirement account, in a business, in something real. If you're serious about getting rich, you need to stop playing games designed to take your money and start playing the long game that actually builds it. Now let's take a breath. We just went through 7 things. 7 purchases that are keeping you broke, and I guarantee you're doing at least 3 of them right now, maybe more. And that uncomfortable feeling you have, that's good. That means you're starting to see the truth. Now here's where this gets real, because knowing what not to buy is only half the battle. The other half is understanding why you keep buying these things even when you know better. And this is where most financial advice falls apart. Everyone tells you what to do. Nobody tells you why you're wired to do the opposite. So let me break down the psychology that's keeping you trapped. You buy things for 3 reasons: fear, ego, and convenience. That's it. Every single purchase you regret falls into one of those categories. You buy the new car because you're afraid the used one will break down. That's fear. You buy the designer clothes because you want people to think you're successful. That's ego. You buy the takeout coffee and lunch every day because planning ahead feels like work. That's convenience. And here's the brutal truth. Rich people have the same emotions. They feel fear. They have egos. They value convenience. But they've trained themselves to recognize these triggers and override them with logic. They ask different questions before spending money. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, what is this costing me long term? What opportunity am I giving up? Is this moving me closer to wealth or further away? Most people won't like hearing this, but your financial problems aren't about income. They're about discipline and awareness. Let me give you a reality check. The median household income in America is around $75,000 a year. After taxes, that's roughly $55,000 to $60,000. If you're spending money on even half the things we talked about, you're losing $20,000 to $30,000 a year on purchases that don't build wealth. Think about that. $20,000 to $30,000. That's not chump change. That's a down payment on an investment property. That's maxing out your retirement accounts. That's building a 6-month emergency fund. That's starting a side business. But instead, it's going to car payments, status symbols, unused subscriptions, and convenient purchases that you won't even remember next month. And then you wonder why you can't get ahead. You wonder why you're living paycheck to paycheck. You wonder why people with the same income seem to be doing better. It's because they're not bleeding money on garbage. Now, I want to address something that some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, this doesn't apply to me. I don't make enough money for this to matter. Or you're thinking, once I make more money, then I'll start investing and being smart with it. Let me be clear. That is the biggest lie you're telling yourself. Your income doesn't determine your wealth. Your habits do. I've seen people making $40,000 a year retire as millionaires because they lived below their means and invested consistently. And I've seen people making $300,000 a year die broke because they spent everything they made trying to look successful. The habits you have now are the habits you'll have when you make more money. If you can't manage $50,000, you won't be able to manage $500,000. You'll just buy more expensive garbage. This is the brutal truth. Your financial future isn't determined by how much you make. It's determined by how much you keep and what you do with it. So what should you be doing instead? What should you be buying? Let me tell you, buy assets, buy things that make you money or save you money long term. Buy index funds, buy real estate that cash flows, buy education that increases your earning potential, buy tools that help you build a business, buy your time back by eliminating debt. Those are the purchases that change your life. Everything else is just noise. Everything else is just consumption dressed up as necessity. And I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds extreme. This sounds like you want me to live like a monk and never enjoy anything. No, I want you to be intentional. I want you to understand that every purchase is a choice between your current pleasure and your future freedom. And right now, most of you are choosing pleasure every single time. You're choosing the dopamine hit of a new purchase over the long-term satisfaction of financial security. Here's something nobody talks about. Being broke is stressful. Being in debt is stressful. Living paycheck to paycheck is stressful. Not having savings is stressful. You know what's not stressful? Having money in the bank, having investments growing, having options, having the ability to say no to things you don't want to do because you're not desperate. That's freedom. And you can't buy freedom with a new car or designer clothes or daily takeout. You buy freedom by making smart decisions consistently over time. You buy freedom by understanding that short-term sacrifice leads to long-term gain. Most people won't like hearing this, but if you want different results, you need different behaviors. You can't keep doing what you're doing and expect your life to change. Now let me tell you what's going to happen if you ignore this. If you keep buying these 7 things, if you keep making the same financial mistakes, here's your future. You're going to work until you're 70 or older because you won't have enough saved to retire. You're going to stress about money every single month. You're going to watch other people live the life you want while you're stuck. You're going to regret not starting earlier. And the worst part? You'll have nobody to blame but yourself because you had the information. You had the opportunity. You just chose not to act on it. That's the reality that nobody wants to face. Your financial future is your responsibility, not the government's, not your employers, not your parents, yours. So let's bring this home. We've covered 7 things you need to stop buying. We've talked about the psychology behind why you keep making bad decisions. We've addressed the excuses. Now I want to talk about what happens next, because here's the thing. Information without action is worthless. You can watch this entire video, nod your head, agree with everything I said, and then go right back to your old habits. And most people will do exactly that. They'll feel motivated for about 24 hours, and then they'll be right back at the coffee shop, right back on Amazon, right back making the same purchases that keep them broke. But you're not most people. If you've made it this far, you're different. You're someone who's ready to change. So let me give you the roadmap. First thing you do today, right now, pull up your bank statements from the last 3 months, go through every single transaction, and I mean every single one. Highlight everything that falls into those 7 categories we talked about. Car payments on a new car, daily coffee and takeout, status purchases, unused subscriptions, unnecessary warranties and insurance, housing costs that are too high, lottery tickets and gambling. Add it all up, look at that number. That's how much you're losing every month. That's how much you're choosing to stay broke. Now multiply that by 12. That's your annual self-sabotage number. And now multiply that by 10. That's what you're giving up over the next decade if nothing changes. Is that number scary? Good. It should be. Because that's real money. That's your future. And right now you're lighting it on fire. Second step, cancel everything you don't absolutely need. And I mean today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Go through those subscriptions, cancel the ones you don't use, downgrade the ones you barely use. Be ruthless. This isn't about depriving yourself. This is about stopping the bleeding. Every subscription you cancel is money that can go toward building wealth instead of funding someone else's. If it takes you 2 hours to cancel everything, that's 2 hours that could save you thousands of dollars a year. That's the best hourly rate you'll ever make. Third step, if you've got a car payment that's killing you, figure out your exit strategy. Can you sell the car and buy something cheaper with cash? Can you refinance at a lower rate? Can you get out from under that payment? I know this is hard. I know you love your car, but you need to love your financial freedom more. And if you can't get rid of the car right now, at least commit to never making this mistake again. When this car is paid off or when you can sell it, you buy your next car with cash, something reliable and affordable, not something to impress people at stoplights. Fourth step, create a spending plan. Notice I didn't say budget. Budgets feel restrictive. Spending plans feel intentional. Decide exactly where your money is going before the month starts. How much for necessities, how much for savings and investing, how much for things you actually enjoy. And here's the key, pay yourself first. Before anything else, money goes to savings and investments. 10% minimum, 20% if you're serious, 30% if you want to get rich fast. Everything else comes after. This is how wealthy people think. They invest first and live on what's left. Poor people spend first and try to save what's left. And there's never anything left. Fifth step, start investing immediately, not next month, not when you feel like you have enough. Now, even if it's just $50 a month into a low-cost index fund, the goal is to build the habit, to train yourself to see investing as non-negotiable, as important as paying rent or buying food. Because it is that important. It's more important, actually. Your landlord will be fine without your rent. He'll find another tenant. But your future self is depending on the decisions you make today. There's no backup plan. There's no safety net. It's just you and the choices you make right now. Let me be clear about something. This isn't going to be easy. Changing your financial habits is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. You're going to be tempted. You're going to see things you want to buy. You're going to have friends who don't understand why you're not going out as much, or why you're driving an older car, or why you're bringing lunch from home. Some of them will make fun of you. Some of them will tell you you're being too extreme. And here's what you need to understand. Those people are broke, or they're heading that direction, and their opinion of your finances means absolutely nothing. You know whose opinion matters? Your future self, the version of you 10 years from now who's either thanking you or cursing you for the decisions you're making today. Here's the final truth. Building wealth isn't complicated. It's simple. Spend less than you make. Invest the difference. Repeat for decades. That's it. There's no secret. There's no hack. There's no shortcut. It's discipline and time. But simple doesn't mean easy, because you're fighting against every instinct that tells you to buy now and worry about later. You're fighting against a consumer culture that's designed to separate you from your money. You're fighting against your own emotions and ego and desire for convenience. But if you can win that fight, if you can override those impulses consistently, you will build wealth. It's not a maybe. It's a mathematical certainty. So here's my challenge to you. Take action in the next 24 hours, not next week, not when you feel ready, tomorrow. Go through your accounts, cancel the subscriptions, make the plan, start the process, and then come back and leave a comment telling me which of these 7 things you're committing to stop buying. Tell me what your self-sabotage number was. Tell me you're serious, because I want to know who's actually going to do this and who's just going to forget about this video in an hour. If this video gave you value, if it opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to keep giving you the truth that nobody else wants to tell you. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's making these mistakes, someone who's stuck financially and doesn't know why. And if you're serious about your future, stick around. Watch the next video. Keep learning, keep growing, keep making better decisions. Your financial freedom depends on it. Now get to work.